Hey everybody, this is Joy. Today I'm doing a collaboration with my very good friend Tanya over at Project Happy Home. You can find her linked below. And we are doing the first video in a 4-part series on this book called Essentialism by Greg McKeown. And this book has been life-changing for both of us, for our outlooks on homeschooling and just life in general. So we really wanted to share this with you. And you might be asking, what is essentialism? Why do I need to know about it? Well, in our very Marie Kondo culture, less is better is floating around all over. And that is definitely mentioned in this book, but it's not exactly what you think. So the very first quote in the book that really stuck in my head was, if you don't prioritize your life, someone else will. So that goes into every decision or non-decision that you make on a daily basis. If you're not taking charge of those decisions, somebody else is going to dictate how your life runs, how busy you are, everything. So essentialism is basically a disciplined, systematic approach for determining where your highest point of contribution lies, and then setting yourself up so execution of those pursuits are almost effortless. So I would say that is the definition. And it is a very good one to kind of latch onto. And you might wonder, how in the world can I make decisions effortless or pursuit of something effortless? Well, we're going to talk about that. So in our very social media based culture, we have a lot of information, like information overload. And not only information overload, it's opinion overload. And that can really kind of bog you down. So we get decision fatigue. And I love that phrase because I know when I am in decision fatigue, because I literally just don't care anymore. Or I feel like I can't do anything else that day. For example, a lot of times when I am doing homeschooling with all of my kids and it's been a particularly rough day, or it's been a hard lesson with my oldest, I will get to the evening and I will just be done. And I can't make another decision to save my life. So if there's no dinner plan, it's not going to be pretty, or we're going to be like going down the road to McDonald's or something. Anyways, and so I have found that to be true in my own life. And so when they named it decision fatigue, I was like, oh, that's so true. And so knowing that you have a choice, obviously we make tons of choices every day, but knowing that you have choice, or free will is a better way to put it. Knowing that you have free will, we all know it. But we get so bogged down sometimes in the process or in our daily life that we forget that we actually have, like, for example, we forget that we have a choice. And so, for example, my husband and I, it was several years ago, and I was homeschooling and I had 3 little ones, and I was in the grind, and I was cranking it out, but I didn't enjoy any part of the process. And I remember one day my husband coming home and saying, you don't have to homeschool. And I just remember that being such an eye-opening thing to me. First of all, that he was even suggesting it. And second of all, he must have seen something in me that he was like, oh, maybe it would be better if you didn't right now. And so I kind of went from that I have to do this mindset to I choose to do this. And do I choose to do this? Do I want to do this? And so I love that switch, because this book talks a lot about that. Like, if you are a non-essentialist and you aren't, you don't have a priority that you're kind of filtering things through in your life, it is going to be much more like, oh, I have to do this. I have to do this. But instead, I choose to do this. And that was really quite a monumental time in my life, where I, from then on, started thinking about homeschooling like, I choose to do this. I get to do this. So in many cases, essentialism can help us to learn how to make one decision that will help us make 1,000 future decisions. And you might ask, what does that mean? In a very Marie Kondo fashion, the less is better is true. However, an essentialist doesn't actually do less. They actually achieve a lot, but it's all through this grid of what is my priority. So for me, I put everything through the filter of homeschooling is my top priority. And that is something I put through every decision that comes in. Is this going to take away from my homeschooling? Is it going to enhance it? And that's not where I stop. If it's going to enhance it, that's great. But then I put it through another filter, like, what is the time commitment, and all of those different questions. The book kind of helps you with those, and it helps you kind of focus on what is your priority. It gives you some questions to think about and try and figure that out for yourself. And they like to say it's distinguishing the vital few from the trivial many. And I really like how that is worded, because you really want those vital few things in your life to really help you to create a life that is very true to you. And there's a lot of trivial many, there's a lot of noise. And so how to filter through all of that. So there's 3 things that the book gives you, kind of where the rubber meets the road, I would say. This is kind of how you determine when you get an opportunity or a decision it needs to be made about something that either someone has asked you, or again, like an opportunity. Number 1, you explore it. And so this is where it differs from Marie Kondo, where less is better. You're actually doing a lot more at the beginning. You're doing your research, you're taking the time to ask questions, you're talking to your spouse, you're talking to your kids, you're just kind of sitting in it and thinking about it and putting it through your filter for a while. So that's explore. The second thing is to eliminate. And then the third thing is to execute. So you obviously take it to the second step, which is eliminate. And that is where you decide, okay, I'm going to do this, or I'm not going to do this. And then you execute and you carry that out and you stick to your guns. And sometimes that's difficult, but I promise you it gets easier. So those are the 3 things. They all start with E. They're very fun to remember. And those are the 3 things that the book keeps talking about and helps you to process through in your mind. And I really like those 3 things, because it does force you to do your homework at the beginning. Before you say yes, before you say no, forces you to do your homework and your research. And I think that is huge. So there is a paradox of success. So once you have put this into play, when you have clarity of purpose, you will have success. And other people start to see that, and then they offer more things for you to do, or more opportunities, or they ask you to do something, and it can be a very good thing to do. But you have to continually, when things come in that need a decision made, you have to put them through, you have to continually put it through those 3 things of explore, eliminate, and execute, because it can start to spread you thin. It can start to lead to diffused efforts in your life once again. So there's the paradox of success. All of this leads to success, but with that comes more people asking things of you, because you have been successful in parts of your life, or all parts of your life, hopefully. So that is something that I wanted to touch on for sure, because I feel like I figured that out in one part of my life. I used to love to make lists, and I would make a list. And one time I made a list, and it was very evident. I made a list of every role that I played, like wife, mother, child, sister, everything. And then I listed, the other things that I was doing in my life. And I circled all the things that I had to do, like obviously had to be, a wife, mother, child, all those things. And I had to do all those things. It's not like I could just, say, I don't feel like doing that today. But then it left me with some things not circled, some things that were a choice. And I realized very quickly that one of the things on there I dearly loved to do, it was wedding coordinating through my church. And I dearly loved it. Like, it was such a fun thing to do, but it was very clear that was not something that fit into my life anymore. And I will never forget when I went to meet with the lady, I was just like shaking, because I didn't tell people no. Up to that point, like, I had 3 small kids. I never told anybody no. And I remember sitting there and I was like, I am going to have to quit. I felt like such a quitter. And she was like, Joy, you don't understand. Like, you saying no opens this up for somebody else to say yes. And she was so gracious about it. And I just remember being like, oh, well, I've never looked at saying no like that before. And that was such an eye-opening thing for me. And so again, if you don't prioritize your life, someone else will. And Essentialism just really helps us live a life true to ourselves. And that is something that is just so crucial in today's world, where there is just so much noise and so much going on around us. So I hope you have enjoyed today's video. Be sure to tune in next Friday, because we're going to post video number 2, and then we'll have a couple more videos after that. So be sure and check out Tanya's video with the link below, and I will see you guys next time.